Welcome to the SeizeYourBusiness.com podcast and video blog. My name is Kevin O'Flaherty from O'Flaherty Law, and I'm joined as always by my co-host, Jim Waszak.
Hello, everybody. Jim Waszak, Zeal Financial.
Thanks. And we have Tom Herman today from CRO Roundtable.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here.
Tom, thank you for being here. Welcome.
My pleasure.
Certainly.
And today we're going to discuss prospecting for customers, which every business owner cares about. So we love these topics. We always love topics about building your business. So Tom, tell us a little bit about your background and what CRO Roundtable is and what you do.
Yes, thank you. So my background is 4 decades plus in sales, sales management, service delivery, and executive management. So after for some decades, frankly, I decided I didn't want a boss anymore.
I feel that.
So I stepped out of the corporate world and brought the Executive Roundtable to Chicago. So that's what I've been doing the last couple of years, introducing the Roundtable into Chicago.
So tell us about the Executive Roundtable. What is it, and what's it good for?
Well, it's good for a lot, but CRO Roundtable stands for Chief Revenue Officer. So whoever is the driver that's responsible for revenue at a company, and some it can be the president, the owner, might be a VP of sales, it might be somebody, and it depends on how a business might be configured. Somebody is responsible for growing the revenue. Mm-hmm. And that's who we target at the Roundtable as potential members of a Roundtable. So we're looking for those people that say, we got revenue, but we know we can do better.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We just don't know how to get there. Right? We're running 24/7. We're all, why not? Right? And so we work with small, medium, mid-sized firms to help them understand where are the gaps and what they're doing that can make them more effective, more efficient, and drive a larger amount of revenue.
So, a question, Tom. In a lot of businesses, it is, as you say, the owner or VP of sales or something like that. But in some professional firms, like accounting or law, usually the partners are all independently responsible for driving revenue. Would those people be appropriate members or not so much?
They potentially could be. When I describe who the members are, the reality is it goes from I'm a PhD who bought these 2 patents from the university. Now what do I do with them? Mm-hmm. Right? Or true story, we just got divorced, and in the settlement, I got the business. Now what do I do? Right? Mm-hmm. Or, I just need to find more opportunities. I need to prospect. I need more sources of revenue. How do I get there? So we have companies, the largest company that is a member of one of our roundtables, it's actually a $1.5 billion company. Mm. And the reason they're there is not that they don't have processes, procedures, and staff to do all these things. I would describe the owner of that business as the chief retirement officer, who is looking to protect his investment and live well. Mm-hmm. But the person that's responsible for driving the revenue is looking at that, saying, we're $1.5 billion, but if we're going to keep that $1.5 billion, we have to change things. Mm-hmm. How are we going to change things here and keep the revenue stream going? So that's why they're there. They're there to look at and get ideas for how they can re-engineer parts of the business and keep that revenue stream rolling.
So at one of your meetings, you're basically, I assume it's kind of like a guided discussion that you're leading where the members share ideas about particular topics, or how does that work?
That's a part of it. So we follow the business year cadence, right? There are times of the year when you're budgeting. There's times of the year where you're prospecting, and then you're adjusting your first quarter plan because you either got too much or didn't get enough. So there are different times of the year when different things need to happen, and we will follow that. But each of the members will share what's their number 1, number 2 objective that they need to accomplish in the year, and we'll let the topics that we bring, whether it's an outside speaker, whether it's a drill-down discussion, or again, a roundtable thought process, is driven by that cadence and the targets that each of the members will have.
So Tom, I guess I'll ask this question. Prospecting can be done obviously a lot of different ways depending on the type of business and who your target market is,
Right.
and that sort of thing. But I just wonder, are there any common themes that you might offer as a tip to somebody, that would apply to just about every business?
Well, from my view, right, and my view, again, is from a history of experience in doing it, watching others doing it, and seeing all this happen, and watching the turnover that happens either in business failures, because you read the statistics that talk about how many businesses don't make it after 5 years, or you take a look at a sales force and how the turnover of a sales force happens, who's successful, who's not successful in that process. So my thought is most people do it wrong. They don't approach prospecting customers correctly. They don't think about it correctly. Because the reality is nobody wants to be sold. The fences come up as soon as they hear, "Hi, I'm so-and-so, and I sell pens." Whatever it is, right? Now the barriers are up.
Yep.
And so you could do a lot. If you just do a high volume and keep going, you can probably sell some pens in that type of an example. But what people want is to do business with somebody they know, that they like, and eventually they come to trust. So approaching customers, prospects from I'm here to help you. How can I help you be more successful? How can I do something that makes the world better for you? Is a way of opening the door, generating the conversation, finding out what they need. Because they can still be a prospect even if they're not going to buy today, tomorrow, next year. You need a pipeline. You need that backlog of potential, and they need to think positively about you, whether it's your business, whether it's you as a sales rep. They have to have a good feeling for all of that. So if you were to approach prospecting from a how do I help you versus how do I sell you, number one, it makes the prospecting more relaxing. It makes it more interesting. I don't know if I use the word fun, but I think perhaps it could be. And the barriers don't come up in that process. To do that, you have to be pretty confident. You have to be confident in your product, in the service, the things that you do for people in your business. And you have to really understand how you stand out from the competition. What's unique? What's so special about you or your product that they lose something if they don't choose you to do business with?
So I guess the way I want to kind of interpret that is you want to have a level of confidence so you can kind of mention what you do or how you help people in sort of a, I don't quite want to say cavalier, but in a sort of relaxed manner, feeling confident that if they have a potential need, they're going to see the value and at least want to talk to you further.
That's right. And I would suggest that the best way to do that is to tell stories.
Love it.
All right, if you're telling stories...
Yeah, that's right up your alley, Jim.
He's there, huh? Yeah.
Yep, I can tell stories.
I mean,
some of them actually are true.
And the reality, the reality is they don't have to be your story. Right? They might have to be from somebody else in your business, somebody else that has actually done this successfully somewhere. And you can relate that story saying, we have a customer or we have people in your industry that we've helped with this and with this and we've found a lot of very rewarding business, that way. And for somebody to say, I had that problem. I mean, they're opening up. They're asking you to do more with them. So it's that ability to relate. Again, it's that know, like, trust stepping stone for working with people.
Kevin and I chuckle a little bit because I do some volunteer work as a career coach. And one of the things I do is a workshop called Ace the Interview Through Storytelling.
Yeah.
And it always is very very powerful and very helpful. So, yeah, absolutely. Stories are terrific.
It's not easy. For people don't like to practice those kinds of things. They read them, they think they got it, but you really have to internalize so that you understand the story, you understand the benefit, you understand why you're telling this story, not just coming up with something that came out of the sales manager's book, if you will. And if you come across with it that way, people are going to warm to you, and they'll remember you. One of the things that we work on, we use the term intromercial as a part of the process, right?
Okay, good.
It's an introduction. Some people call them elevator pitches. It's really a commercial. When you pull all that together, it's what can you say in 1 or 2 sentences that will stick, that they'll remember. Yep. And one of the best examples of all the people that we've been working with, it was an attorney, right? He was working for a large company, and the position that he was interviewing for was compliance officer, right? So it's like you meet the guy someplace, maybe at a holiday party or an event. What do you do? Well, and he'll go down this litany of legal terminology of things that he does,
right.
And they're looking for somebody else to talk to very quickly. They want to move on. After working with him, what he came back with was, what do you do? My job is to keep the CEO out of jail.
Right, much more powerful.
Right, really? Well, how do you do that?
Yeah, right.
Now it steps into the. So that's the kind of infomercial that, again, it grabs their attention. They'll never forget that, right? The next day, they're going to be talking to you know who I met? I met a guy who keeps the CEO. They know that.
Sure.
And so it's a way of building that uniqueness that makes you special that nobody else is offering out there in the market. It's hard to do that, because when you make that statement and then they say, how do you do that? You have to have those answers.
Sure.
And of course, it has to be true.
Right.
You have to be able to prove it, right? And it has to be relevant to the situation. So.
And Tom, you touched on another thing that happens to be another interest area of mine, believe it or not. But you said about how some people are kind of uncomfortable with that storytelling mode, and I see this both in business as well as in the career work that I do. But what's a really good idea for those people? Take an improv class. I do some improv kind of on a part-time basis,
Yep.
and people that have gone through classes, it's just amazing that they just get much more comfortable being spontaneous. They get much more comfortable with themselves, and it's fun.
Sure.
So another simple idea that's fun for our viewers is improv.
Improv would be a great way to go. Toastmasters is another way to learn how to just speak off the cuff on something quickly and easily. So those kinds of things, if people haven't done them, especially if they have that stage fear, if you will, whether it's one-on-one or a group, it goes a long way.
Sure.
It goes a long way with people.
A couple points that you brought up that I really agree with are, you need to have confidence, and especially if you're just starting, you're not going to have confidence. I mean, you've got to. Some of that comes with experience. Some of that comes from taking an improv class.
Right.
But you have to have confidence, because people don't want, like you said, a pitch. People don't want to be just feeling like they're the recipient of a monologue that you've given to 40 other people that week.
Right.
They want to feel like they're just having a conversation with someone. And off the cuff is another good point. If you're going to tell a story, I think it shouldn't feel like it's a pre-prepared story. It's got to be, hey, based on what's going on in your situation, I remember a time that I had a similar situation, but it's got to seem like and it should actually genuinely be an off-the-cuff story based on the actual conversation you're having, not a pre-prepared spiel, because a spiel will turn people off so fast.
Yeah, and so you have to know those, you have to internalize them. It takes time, right? It takes off-hours work to do that. If you have a significant other, you can bore them to death with practice on how to do that until you get fairly good at it. But you're right, it has to flow, it has to be comfortable, because if they think that you're processing through, here's the point, and then you go, they're not buying at that point, right? They're looking for somebody else to interact with. So to me, it's if you're going to be a business person, if you have to be always prospecting, But if that prospecting is done the wrong way, it's really frustrating. It's really hard. If you're doing it the right way, looking for a way to help people, how to relate to people, how to share successes that you've had before, the doors stay open. And you can continue to work with those people down the road. And God forbid, they might actually give you a lead. That could happen too, because you're memorable, because they had a connection that made sense.
And people love stories. I mean, we watch TV all the time, we read books. I mean, people just love a story.
Can you give us one or two more tips or easy fixes, common mistakes that you see people making in the sales process, or a couple of things that people can instantly apply?
Well, I guess the first one I would say is too many give up too easy. They give it a try. They try something and it didn't work. They try it 2 or 3 times, it didn't work. And psychologists would tell you it takes time. It takes repetitive behavior to establish good habits along that line. So sticking with it and looking at the small results, not the big results, right? Most of them are did I make a profit this month? Did I hit my sales target for the month? I mean, those are, but typically you don't get there right away. All right, it takes time to build up.
You don't do anything well the first time, typically, in life.
Yeah, so persistence is the main thing that if you're going to be good at it, you got to work at it. Yeah. Right, you have to feel good about that.
So, Tom, I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit here.
Yeah.
So you and I are at a business workshop, and we got a break, and I say, Tom, so what do you do?
So I'll tell you what I do.
Oh, good. That's what I want to hear.
I grow your revenue.
Oh, beautiful.
That's what I care about.
How do you do that?
Well, I do that by understanding what you're using for your tools, your process, your procedure, taking a look at where there might be some gaps that can be closed, and working on those with you to improve that process, because it's all there. Right? So we'll take a look at, are the right people in the right place? What is the message? What, and that's one of the things I listen to with everybody. I shake hands. What do you do? I'm listening for, am I getting all that legalese, if you will, right? Or the tech talk, which you hear so many times these days. And if they're doing that, then they're missing the boat. They're not relating to people on a level they can relate on. They should be relating on. So I'm going to be looking at that message, looking at what's unique in the business that we can help them stand out with, and talk with them about different approaches. I mean, the follow-up is the second piece to that, right? I meet you one time, and I go away, and you didn't buy, so but how do I follow up with you? How am I meaningfully dealing with keeping in front of you, being a part of your mind in that process?
So Tom, if someone wants to reach you to join CRO Roundtable, how can they find you?
Well, they can find me through LinkedIn, through Twitter. They just have to put me in and Google me if you want to do that. But it's therman@croroundtable.com, or www.croroundtable.com. And
cell phone?
I'm sorry?
Cell phone?
Cell phone, 630-730-8718. And I'd love to talk to them. We have a really good time. There's only a couple of little rules in the roundtable. First one is no competitors at a roundtable. Everybody is unique in their business, and if you're trying to talk about an issue that needs fixing, you don't want the competitor writing those notes down. So, and then the other one is we have no dress code.
Okay.
So everybody comes for the rest of their day, and we work on the topics for a half a day, and everybody goes away with something to act on.
Super.
Jim, what are you doing these days, and how can people reach you?
Yeah, well, I'm with Zeal Financial, and as Tom says, the simple one-line statement is, I protect families from the indirect costs of cancer, heart disease, and serious injury. And you can reach me at 630-272-3895, 630-272-3895. 631-288-3895. And Kevin, how do people find you?
Yeah, you can call me for a free consultation. We do almost every area of law. My phone number is 630-324-6666. You can check out more of our podcasts and videos at seizeyourbusiness.com. I do a legal podcast you can check out. Hundreds of articles on every area of law. Learn-about-law.com. We've got a new real estate podcast I'm doing called makingrealestatefun.com. Tom Weiler is responsible for our videography. He does a great job for us. You can reach out to him if you'd like a video. If you're a business owner, he does lots of videos for business owners. WeilerStudios.com, Weiler with a Y. So, Tom, thanks so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Tom,
Great
thank
time.
you very much.